Welcome in. So we're going to go over the E28 cylinder head swap, and this is going to kind of be in a mixed order. So I'll go over it a little bit, see all the changes that I've made, and then after this we'll show everything that I did up to this point. So the cylinder head, originally I just needed a head gasket. So the head gasket hadn't fully broken or blown out from performance. It was actually corroded at the back two cylinders. There was just corrosion creeping up from the water jackets into the fire ring, and it just caused it to seep right under the fire ring. So it wasn't even blown out. I've got some pictures I'll put in. While that was going on, we switched over to a 9-blade 67. So previously I had a 10-blade, and Bradley at Savage Fabrication wanted to give us a try with this 9-blade and see if it matched the application a little bit better. Typically he puts those on large Cummins diesels, and this 9-blade is absolutely awesome. Just coming up here, you know, driving steep canyons, I can make like 8 psi at 2400 RPMs. So enough power to give you 70 or 80 extra horsepower up any hill, even really steep ones. So yeah, this thing is really responsive, and we were discussing back and forth the responsiveness of this new setup actually may be just a part of having the correct cylinder head working. So I'll show you in some other videos, the clips later on in this, but when we pulled the head, the cam timing was off one tooth. It was actually retarded by one tooth, and because of that, over time it had hit 4 exhaust valves on the pistons. Very little, it was just a tiny little bit, but it was enough to bend them slightly so they weren't sealing. So when I took the cylinder head to the machine shop, they said, hey, you got 4 bent valves. So I got 6 new standard size stainless steel exhaust valves. They're from Ireland Engineering, except I do believe they're just using ones from Volkswagen, like Type 1, because they were shorter and I had to run lash caps on it. I'll show you even more of that later. While we were in there, the previous thermostat housing was completely rotten out. So I got a new one, Euro parts on the front, and then this was genuine BMW. And I switched over to the E30 style temperature sensor. Previously I had a drilled in one that was a GM, and went over here, just put in this, and just put nice plugs in everything else. And I sent the injectors off to Snake Eater Injector to have them flow tested, and yep, so they're all good. None of them were really all that bad, but I did have some that I needed to just check the injector data on, because that was a little bit of a change for the tune. Trying to think of anything else. Oh yeah, brand new radiator, MRT Engineering cam sensor. When I do the EFI Gold Light later, I'm going to need this for sequential, so I got that, put that on, and really everything else is just standard. We just put a standard head gasket on it. I did, with the help of some friends, including Bradley at Savage Fabrication, we did some chamber work. I didn't touch the ports, but basically I just matched the chambers to what a B35 would have, and I unshrouded the valves as much as possible. So between all of that and then just having everything correct, this thing absolutely rips. It is a blast. And when I put it back together, I took it out and tuned it, and the tune needed about 13% more fuel. So just based on that, knowing that it needed more fuel on the exact same tune, I think our volumetric efficiency went up. So this thing made 560 wheel horsepower last time it was on the dyno, and it wouldn't surprise me if now it's on around 600 wheel. And this is a completely standard engine. Yes, you know, I did a little bit of tweaks, but I also just put a B35 camshaft in it, because you can get them brand new from Phoebe Bilstein. So instead of running my old cam, I put that Phoebe Bilstein cam in there, brand new rockers. It's basically just a rebuilt stock head that's a B34, and chamber work was done to make it more like a B35 is what you could see it as. But yeah, the camshaft, when I measured it out with the extra, with the correction for the rocker arm ratio, it will give a millimeter more at the valve of lift over the B34 cam that was worn out previously. Like the actual lobes were shorter. And I think I have a video clip of that I'll throw in there. But really, honestly, just stoked to have this back. We're approaching wintertime, and I just wanted to get out and enjoy the car, and I hope you guys will too. I'll put a few clips in here. It sounds absolutely awesome. It's a lot more throaty since I changed it. I think the exhaust valves were just making it, the bent exhaust valves were just making it anemic. It didn't sound good at all in comparison to how it sounds now. I know that's all relative for people, but you know, for me, it's a pretty good stoke point. But anyway, yeah, don't mind all the clutter. This was when I wired it 7 years ago now. So we're going to do a really nice wiring harness with the EFI, the new EFI system that's going on, the MS3 Gold Light. And yeah, it holds no coolant pressure hardly at all. Like this thing we just ripped up here, you can pull it off. It's great, no problems whatsoever. So the head gasket's working. Just did some pulls on 24 to 25 PSI the other day, and it's holding up great. It is maddeningly fast. It's very quick little beast. It's probably quicker than this chassis has the right to be. So anyway, anyone who cares on that, I'll throw in a little clip of it cruising, making some boosty noises, and yeah, check out the rest of the video if anyone who cares about E28 content. Thanks. I can go here and then we'll just, or something. Do you want to, yeah, if I give people up?
Yeah, I'll do the honors.
I think everything.
I just want you to watch that stud, and I'll do my due diligence.
Okay, so I'm gonna grab like down here.
Watch. Oh, you're caught. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Jance. Thank you, Wendy. Dude, those look minty. It's all that E85 keeping them clean over there.
Yeah, those are. Look at that. That's great. Could have been way back when eBay.
Maybe this motor has been out, because this head gasket doesn't look like the original style. It has the orange silicone on the side.
So maybe there was a timing component failure or something, and it skipped timing. And then,
So the B35 on the technical update on them, this right here is all laid back, so it's not shrouded. See how the valve is shrouded right here?
yeah.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay this back and unshroud it so it can it doesn't hit this wall. And so basically I can unshroud these edges and it will be like the B35. And the B35, this shelf right here, is also laid back. Not a lot, but it is laid back. There's not a sharp edge right here. It's all
the combustion chamber the same shape on the B35 though?
It's the same shape, but this they made
That's
it more
the
efficient.
only difference.
Well, the port's different too, but this they updated.
Because you don't want to get rid of
But
turbulence,
what's cool about this is you can see the fuel flow. So you can see where when this intake valve opens, it blasts and the fuel is just drenching the spark plug and coming across.
Yep.
And then it probably hits across there too because there's a clean spot. But it's pretty interesting. 600 horse motor, boys.
Sweet.
Thanks, Jance. That was easier than I thought, and I know I could have done this, but I'm like, I don't want to fight it, and if it will come off, when I put it back on, I'll take the time to put it back on. Okay, I think this has a hypercritical short turn, because like people had said, there's like no short turn on this. It just hits that edge and goes off a cliff. Like if I feel down in here, it just goes like almost 90 degrees just instantly right there on the edge. So it's actually like really smooth inside, like where they do the valve job and like bored in. I don't know, it's hard to see, but it's like actually really nice. There's no like lip or anything there to remove. Like, I don't know if you can see down in there, but like the machine work from the factory is pretty dang nice. Same with the casting. But I don't know if there's anything I can do on this. Maybe if you've got some thoughts, but I know I can really unshroud those valves right here. Like this right here. In fact, you can see where the fuel is hitting. It comes in, hits, and then hits. And also it like sprays across. So the fuel is coming out, hitting and hitting and hitting this whole edge. It's all clean. Welcome in, everyone. I wanted to show you. I've got everything apart here on the E28. And there's the stock style head gasket. So just out of nowhere, I started blowing coolant out of the overflow right here. It was just gushing out, and I data logged it. It wasn't getting hot, but every time I'd rev the engine or accelerate hard or hit boost, it would push water. So I kind of narrowed it down to being the head gasket, and we just took the head off and just gonna do a new head gasket. Everything in here looks really good. This is a stock engine, stock cam, I mean everything. All I did was ARP studs, and it's made over 600 to the crank. It's 560 wheel. The issue that I actually think has happened is you can see there's this like really rough, it's like corrosion almost right around the fire ring. We've got the same thing on the cylinder head, and I think it just started slowly pushing combustion out of the cylinders and pushed it into the cooling. So it's really, yeah, it's kind of like everywhere. You could feel it with your fingernail, like it's actually like corroded. Let's go back in here, and you can see, like, if I zoom in right here, I can like grab this with my fingernail, and there's like pitting. You can grab it. But anyway, this is the I don't know, I think it's a micro record. I think it's funny. I don't actually care if someone else has beat it, but this is the most powerful fully stock Longbach M30, I think. Because a lot of people do cams, but this is stock cam and stock head gasket, everything. And this is what it looks like. So it's kind of cool. You can see where the fuel flows through the intake on these things. Everything's looking good. Yeah, it's just fully stock cam. But yeah, so we're gonna do the head gasket. I'm gonna O-ring the block. I have an O-ring tool, and then I'm gonna de-shroud the valves to be similar to like a B35 cylinder head. On a B35, this whole area is laid back like significantly, and over here, so we're gonna try to de-shroud this intake valve as much as we can, and maybe free up a few horse torques. So anyway, yeah, we got the studs right there. Just wanted to show everyone what it looks like, but I'm gonna do a little bit of chamber work on this. We'll see if it picks up any. I'm trying to avoid doing a cam. I know everyone will just say, oh, put a cam in it. Well, a cam will make more power from what I've seen, but in the same torque and horsepower peaks. And with this engine, I want to move the peaks higher in the rev range. And so there's something that isn't letting the cam do that. Because a lot of people have like, you know, a 272 or a 285 cam, and you look at the dyno graph and the peaks are in the same spot, but they're just 20 horsepower higher or whatever. And that's not my goal with this engine. If I want to make more in the same peaks, I just turn up the boost. I want to move the peak torque higher, take some of the load off the bottom end, and rev it out just a little bit harder. But yeah, anyway, that's it. It looked like this cylinder head, I got it from a 1987 car, and so I don't think this is the original cylinder head, and I definitely don't think this is the original head gasket. This is like a newer style with like the silicone around the edges and stuff. And also, each one of the exhaust valves has hit the piston, but it's all like, I've gone and wiped it up. That was all just covered with like carbon and all of them. So I think that was from a long time ago. I don't think that's new. None of the valves have any hitting on them, any like dents. But yeah, so we're gonna just do some light chamber work and O-ring the block, and we'll put it back together. So I'll keep you posted on that. So yeah, you can see 84. But yeah, just wanted to give an update. All right, we got 2 done so far. As you can see, I put a little grease down around the edge. I saw another guy do it on a Mitsubishi where he did that grease just to keep the little pieces from getting down in. So I did the same. It catches all the little iron pieces, but as you can see, O-ring grooves are cut. It's looking pretty good. Feels really nice and smooth. That cutter does a really good job. The bore spacing is looking good between here. I think it'll do a nice job. So just gonna do 4 more. I gotta turn the crank over to get these front ones that are sticking up on top dead center. And then yeah, we'll be good. I'm excited to just get this out of the way. It's a lot less intimidating than I originally thought doing it in the car. I've done this on the floor with a block in the garage, but I haven't done it in the car. I think this back one, I'll have to take the handles off of this tool, but it'll still be doable. So there we go. All right, so we're gonna start on our last cut here. I've got it set up to cut 5/1000s, and we're just gonna go around nice and easy. Feel it cutting. Just wanna get it equally cutting all the way around. Put some pressure on it down low, and doesn't need much. Remember, it's only 5/1000s. It's a shim of that paper, basically. Right there. I think it's almost there. I'm just putting pressure against the blade to make sure it's fully touching everywhere. All right, I think it's good. I think it did its final cut. All right, the O-ring is done. I don't know if you can see it right there, but you can see that groove all along the edge. I can stick my fingernail down in it, and it's there. So we're just gonna vacuum it out, clean it really well, some brake parts cleaner, and then move on to the next one. Okay, so we got these 5/1000 shims that are just cut up from a 5/1000 feeler gauge. Put that under here on all 4 sides. And then what we're gonna do now is we're gonna adjust the blade, the cutter. So the blade is over here, and we're just gonna lift it up until it touches. And that gives us our 5/1000 off the bottom of that last cut. And then we're gonna tighten up. Just make sure it's nice and tight. Right here. Lift up, slide it down. Make sure it's all the way to the bottom of the bore with no debris. Tighten it up. Just make sure it's nice and clamped, and then we can take our shims out, and that should be set up for a 5/1000 finish cut. So, just like that. They're fighting me because they're so thin. Right there. And so we're gonna cut it again. Okay, so we've got the cutter set up to a 25/1000 depth cut, and we're just about ready to start going. I think I'm just gonna adjust the outriggers on the cutter just one more time, just kind of tighten it up, and there we go. So here goes nothing. Just go nice and gentle. It wants to jump on me. Just gotta go slow, even pressure. Man, it's fighting. But you can see it just cuts a groove. This upper side wants to fight. Just gonna, there we go. Can't put too much pressure, I guess. But you can see it's starting to cut a groove. I just got to keep going. And then we're going to do this until the cutter stops at 25/1000. It'll just bottom out. And then we'll do another 5/1000 cut, and then we'll be good. That side just needs like special attention. There we go. All right, so it's getting there. You can feel it's almost bottomed out. Put some even pressure. All right, I think it's done. And then we'll do the setup for the next cut with a 5/1000 shim. So that's it. And now, if we pull this guy out, you can see there's indeed a ringed groove. I put grease down in the bottom of the piston just so it would hold it, but you can see that groove ready to go. So we'll set it up again. And then here's the cutter. Here, you can back it up. That's what the cutter looks like. It's just a blade that sits out on the radius. Welcome back. We've got the modified combustion chamber. So basically all I did to this was tried to mimic the shape of a B35. So we just smoothed out and laid back this chamber so that hopefully the valves can breathe more efficiently. I'm in no way a professional, but I'm getting advice from professionals and trying to do the best I can. Just smoothing this quench pad out so that it can have a path to follow versus just falling off a cliff, and really trying to just de-shroud the valves as much as possible. I don't think this will help a ton, but you know, even if it was like 1% per cylinder or something like that, it'd be like a 5 to 6% or whatever. We were looking at porting this, but these are really difficult. The port design is so low, the short turn radius like doesn't really have much to work with. Really, the ideal way to make this cylinder head more high performance is to raise the port, and without doing a ton of work like welding up the bottom of the port and then cutting out the top, it's just not worth it. The next iteration of this will just be a different engine. But to get this back on the road and make some more power, we're doing that, and then we're going to do O-rings in the block. So I have the Isky Cams Racing O-ring block cutter. So essentially you're supposed to use, you could use a variety of different head gaskets, but my plan is to use stock head gasket and then just cut O-rings for the stock fire ring on the gasket. So you can see the shadow of where the gasket goes, and basically you just split that in the middle, and there's a cutter right there that you just set to cut a circle at I think it's 30 thousandths deep, and then you put 41 thousandths wire down in there, and basically makes a O-ring that pushes into the stock head gasket. So right here, it'll just push into the gasket and keep the gasket from smashing out. So yeah, we're gonna try to set that up and just do our best here. I prepped the surface of the block with just some razor blades and one of these Scotch-Brite. This is a genuine 3M Scotch-Brite disc. It's a row lock. I think it's 120 grit or 180. Works really well. You just go gentle with it, and it works really well to get all the gasket off. I'm not trying to modify the surface of the metal, just getting the gasket off. I tested it on this piston just for fun, and yeah, it cleaned up pretty good. So anyway, we're gonna tape off all the ports and make sure that none of the shavings from this get in there, and we'll go from there. All right, wanted to show the final product here. Let's see if we can zoom in a bit. So they're all 45 degreed. That one looks worse than it is. It's just got like a little pinch. Some of these, they weren't perfect when they went in. That one is like amazing because I used a grinder on both sides and just basically ground them together. Yeah, I don't know. Some of these I had to tap just slightly with a hammer to get them to not sit proud, just a touch. So hopefully they'll be good. It's tricky to do it in the car like this. It's much easier when it's on the ground, like the other blocks I've done, but I think for this car it'll be fine. So yeah, that's how you do it. Should be pretty good. I'm assuming it'll be better than nothing. So aside from not having any O-rings at all and a stock gasket, this should be good. Thanks for checking it out. Just wanted to show the final product here. They're all looking really good. Some of them have a really, really tiny edge to them, or like a slight gap, not fully, but just overlapped. So you can see After some further study, I think this right here is the culprit. So number 6, you can see how much corrosion there is on the actual head gasket, and number 5 as well. And I think it was mostly just corrosion. There's no sign of the head gasket pushing out of round. It's still fine, but it's like these water jackets just slowly corroded toward here, and then just probably weakened it enough or got enough corrosion just to let combustion slip by. So I think that's it. It didn't actually blow out any of the cylinders. Just wanted to show this wasn't like a failure of anything. It was actually on very low boost, and I was just driving it around testing the air conditioning because I finally got the AC working and installed, and just trying to cruise it and enjoy it, and yep, that happened. So quick update on the cylinder head. Like in the pictures previous to this, I'd shown the engine was off a tooth the entire time, so it was retarded one tooth, and that caused the exhaust valves to hit the pistons at some point. And it wasn't bad enough that it bent the valves a ton, but it bent them enough that they aren't sealing up anymore. When I took it to the machine shop, they called me up and said, hey, you got bent valves, which is crazy because it made 600 horsepower on bent valves. Kind of wild, but anyway, doing new exhaust valves. These are stainless steel. Not that I was looking for an upgrade other than stock, but that's just what is available for a better value than the OEM ones. OEM is like 90 a piece, and these stainless steel ones from Ireland are like 25 a piece. So I got those, some new valve guides, the TRW ones from Germany, and then the Viton late style seals for them. So these will be going in. I've got a stock Phoebe B35 cam that's going to go in it with new rocker arms. We're just going to try to get it back to full stock. There we go. This is the Phoebe Bilstein replacement M30B35 cam. It's the part number right there, ending in 606. And I really just wanted to measure this to give other people a reference, because I'm not sure if it's actually more aggressive than my B34 cam, but it's for the B35, and so it should be more aggressive. So what I'm gonna do is gonna cut it open, and then we will measure it up real quick. So let's peel this back. We just need to get to these first two cam lobes. It's a little bit greasy. It's actually got like that stick paper. There we go. Okay. Just wanted to show what this looks like, kind of up close. All right. And you can see it has the single pin right here on the end. That's how you know it's the late version. Let me grab the calipers real quick. Okay, we got these guys zeroed out. So the intake .3. I think that's the highest I can get out of it. We're going flat to flat. 35. It might just be 35. So that's this first, which I do believe is the intake. And then the exhaust is also pretty much the exact same, 35.2. I wish I had the actual cam measuring stuff for this, but yep, that's about as good as it's gonna get. 35.3-ish. And then the intake was like right around 35. Cool. Anyway, that's just for reference. If you want to know what a Phoebe Bilstein replacement B35 cam is brand new, and then I'm going to measure my old B34. It is worn down a bit, but it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, this height of the lobe doesn't relate fully to the valve lift because it has a rocker that has a ratio, and this is the entire height of the lobe, not lobe from the center line. So we'd have to know how wide the base circle is. But anyway, just a quick reference. Hopefully that helps someone out there. That's really all I'm doing this for. Thanks.
So if anyone's interested, I just got the old camshaft back that I replaced with a brand new Phoebe Bilstein B35 cam. This is the part number on the old cam. It's got like the M marking on it. But anyway, this is the one that I made 560 wheel on, and the lobes measure out to 34.41 just across on both of them. And on the Phoebe Bilstein that I measured up, I have another video on it. They measured at 35.25 to 35.23, I think, on this. So that measured out at a 1.3 rocker ratio, which I think is what these are, should give about 1 millimeter more lift at the valve. So if you want a basic upgrade for $175 for your M30B34, that Phoebe Bilstein is, it definitely has larger lobes. These are a little bit worn down, but I don't think they're worn down enough to measure out the difference in there. So it is definitely an upgrade, even though it's a stock replacement cam.
These little Scotch-Brite bristle discs are absolutely awesome for getting off old gasket. This is before, this is after. What's nice is they don't take off a bunch of material. They're aggressive enough to take off the old gasket, but not aggressive enough to do a ton of damage or anything. They just kind of scuff up and make a nice finish for the new gasket to go on. There's that right there. And then I even did this piece, looking good. And I just ran it on the whole thing just to get the oxidation off and all the old crusties. And you could almost like use it as a first stage for polishing on nice aluminum.
Another update on putting this all back together. I kind of went crazy on this because the old one was completely rotten out and destroyed. I actually threw it in the trash here. You can see this thing was in pretty bad shape. So you can actually get them new from BMW. I got it on AutoHaus, but it is a BMW part. It's actually cast in 2013, which is wild. But anyway, I got that, and then this end cap I didn't feel like paying like $50 for, so I got the $15 one from Europarts. Seems to be just fine. The quality looks good. And then I didn't have the right hardware because the other hardware was also rotten. So I ordered up some stainless stuff. This is 60 millimeter, and I think the other one is 25 millimeter by M6. So got those all nicely done. And then I ordered up some caps. These are a drain plug off of like an Audi or something like that. They're M14 1.5, I think. So got those with the crush washer. And then the only things that are going to be on here for sensors are coolant temp for the engine, and this is for the gauge coolant temp. And I just ran Scotch-Brite wheel on that, and it buffed up real nice. Anyway, the little things sometimes actually are kind of fun. So we got that. ARP bolts installed. Let's go over to the car. I was able to get the head on with the exhaust and the intake. Just set it on at once. It was way easier to get the exhaust on while it's on the bench than in the car. I also even put the fuel rail on. I got some silicone line that I'm going to run this time for all the vacuum stuff, and I just have yellow tape on everything to keep stuff out and remind me what needs to be hooked up. So, yep, ARP head studs in, everything is timed, and I'm just getting ready to seal it back up. I need to crank the motor over by hand a couple times to make sure that the timing is good, but other than that, it's ready to go back. So I'm very excited. This car's been down for a couple months. Finally get to drive it during the best time of the year for weather. All right, cylinder head's ready to go in. Got the brand new B35 Phoebe Bilstein cam. Injectors are all cleaned. Sent those off to Snake Eater Injector to get cleaned and serviced. Intake manifold's on, exhaust manifold's on. We're gonna try to drop it on with everything. I took it off with the intake manifold on, and it worked really well, so we're just gonna try to do it, save a little bit of time. Everything's tightened down. I just have it propped up here. You can see all the new combustion chambers and everything there. And got everything cleaned off here. I actually even went in right here and removed some material. There was like this casting wall here just to help it drain back. There's another little one right here. So did that, cut out a little bit where the pistons had hit on each of them. We've got it O-ringed. So the block is O-ringed on every cylinder, and we're ready to just drop the head back on. So should be good to go. All right, so we got the brand new L-ring gasket on, ready to go. We're just gonna do a little time lapse of us dropping this guy in. Okay, stop. Woo! Okay. So I threw enough stuff back on it just to get it to run for a minute. Just want to make sure that it actually works before I finish putting everything back on and filling it up with coolant. Runs really nice and smooth. It actually fires up way easier than it used to, because I'm assuming with the bent exhaust valves and everything else that it had going on, it just always took a second to fire up. Now I hit it, fires right up, just flick of the key. So we're making good progress. All right, we're making some progress. We've got chaos everywhere, but radiator's finally going in. This is the new Nissan's radiator, aluminum. Look at that, 7.7 pounds, 13 ounces. And if we move this little guy over, let's get the old guy here. Oh, it's all steel on the bottom. And it is 10 pounds 3 ounce, so 3 pounds lighter just from changing the radiator. So that'll be nice. Lighten the front end up just a touch. So anyway, just I love keeping things light, so it'll be fun even if it's a couple pounds. It's just fun to know. So, getting everything back together. I have a new version of the turbo to try from Bradley at Savage Fabrication. This is the same whole set HE351, 60 millimeter compressor, and it previously had a 67 millimeter 10 blade, and now we've gone to a 67 9 blade, and we're gonna see how this changes things. If I remember right, it works better with lower pressure ratios. So on a diesel where you have like really high pressure ratios, high boost, high back pressure, the other one excels. So we'll see if this is any different. I get data of the EMAP, and so we can kind of see, and I even have it set up so I can do expansion ratio as well. So yeah, we'll just see how this one goes. We're just learning here. It's we don't take anything too seriously in any racing class or anything, so we're not worried about a ton of intricate stuff with that. But we're just gonna throw it back on the car, and should be good to go. Got the thermostat all ready to go. This is on. Just need to connect it down below. Connect this up. Flush the coolant system out, and then we're going to put the radiator in, and we're almost there.